Hope is not a strategy. Yet most people, if they actually do make out a will, sign that will, put it in a drawer, and think that's all there is to it. Today, I'm going to tell you why that's not enough. Hi, Nancy Bovair here with Agape and NEXsteps. Most people don't avoid their estate planning because they're irresponsible. Let's face it, it's an uncomfortable conversation. It makes people uncomfortable to talk about their death. We all know that we are at some point going to die, but actually having those conversations is very uncomfortable, not just for the person who is doing the planning, but for the people around them. So instead of actually planning, people just rely on hope. They hope that the doctors will know what to do. They hope that their spouse will be able to pay the bills and get access to the appropriate bank accounts. They hope that the doctors will know what their wishes were. But hope isn't enough, and that kind of hope is where things go wrong. So let's talk about that will. Let's talk about what that will actually does. Well, the will doesn't actually even take effect until after you've already died. That doesn't cover what happens if you become incapacitated. What happens if you have a stroke and you can't communicate? What happens if you are in a hospital and just can't let anybody know what it is that your needs are, how to pay your bills, what your medical wishes were? That's where the other documents come into play. That's why I keep telling everybody you need to have that enduring power of attorney. It's called an enduring power of attorney in Alberta. It has different names in different jurisdictions. But what it essentially is it gives a power of attorney that is enduring, that lasts if you do become incapacitated. A lot of people are often concerned about signing that enduring power of attorney. They're afraid that the person that they name might take advantage, might rob from them, might take money out of their accounts without authority. And while that is a very, very small risk, assuming that you have trust in the person who you have named, you can also do what is called a triggering power of attorney. You can have that document structured so that the attorney who you have named in that document can only act after certain events have triggered. You also need to have that personal directive or that medical directive, again called different things in different jurisdictions. But what you do need to do is you need to have that medical directive that talks about what it is that you want done. What kind of life-saving actions do you want to be taken? Make sure that your family knows and that you have that in an actual legal document. It's one thing to speak about it. It's a different thing to have the legal authority to act. An important point here is that incomplete estate planning isn't just an inconvenience. It creates a huge burden on those who you want to remove the burden from. You don't want to leave your family, your loved ones, already struggling with grief or what has happened to you, trying to piece things together and trying to figure out what it is that you would have wanted. These documents make sure that they have clarity in what your wishes were and that they have the legal authority to act. These aren't easy conversations. These aren't easy documents. They need you to imagine a time when you're incapacitated, when you can't speak for yourself. They ask you to imagine what will happen when you do pass away. But procrastinating doesn't make things any easier for your family. We all hope that we have more time. But again, hope is not a strategy. Maybe you'll have more time, and maybe you won't. But here's the consequence if you don't. You can hope that you'll never have to use that power of attorney. You can hope that your family will never have to refer to that medical directive. But what happens if they do? You're going to leave them struggling, you're going to leave them without that clarity, and most importantly, you're going to leave them without the legal authority to act on your behalf. I'm a certified executor advisor. I help you find these gaps. I help you have these conversations. I help you identify what it is that you need and how to help provide that comfort for your family. Because remember, hope is not a strategy. As always, I've got an article over on my website. The link is over in the description box. And if you'd like to discuss what your situation is and get a little bit more clarity, please reach out, fill out the contact form. I'm always happy to talk to you. Thanks very much for joining me this week. I look forward to sharing more with you next time. Bye for now.